Hello and welcome to Tome of Uselessness. I'm Devin.
I'm Dan.
And today we're talking about the one and only Suicide Squad.
I was going to say, really? Because this is like the fourth movie named Suicide Squad I can think of.
Good point. Okay, well, no, because you know what? We're not talking about Suicide Squad. We're talking about the Suicide Squad.
Exactly.
Yeah. But before we get into all that goodness, Dan, did you like anything this week?
Yeah, just got a couple things I'm going to highlight here. I read a book called Film Directing Fundamentals.
Ooh.
Fundamentals, anyway. Yeah, like it literally was a film textbook on directing.
Nice.
And yeah, actually, I found it quite interesting and a lot of neat information because, like I was saying previously before, that it's like want to understand more about movies that I try to critique. And yeah, no, it was just there was some interesting stuff because it focused a lot more on directing and like camera positioning and shot duration and how to motivate actors and like the other stuff than just like story and script and etc. So yeah, it was really good. I enjoyed it a lot. Yeah, it was a lot of neat information in there.
Cool.
And yeah, it was published in 2008, I think I want to say 7 or 8, and so it still he does mention a little bit about the digital revolution because he's just like, look, every camera now is a movie camera quality, like you can do it, kind of thing.
Oh, that's really cool.
Yeah, so it was kind of cool. And then I also read a trilogy of Stargate SG-1 novels. It was the Apocalypse trilogy, I think it was called. Anyway, it was 3 books, and it was kind of funny because it took place in the middle of, say, season 3 of the show. But they were bringing in, because they were written after, and so the author brought in stuff from like Stargate Atlantis and like all these other elements into into the book series that I was like, I not as familiar with Atlantis, but of course I know about it. That like hadn't I watched the entire show, I'd be like, what is going on?
Yeah, I wouldn't be able to go into the book.
Yeah, like I mean, they were still introduced and still developed and stuff like that, but like I knew where these elements were coming from, not just like they were out of nowhere, right? So that was kind of interesting.
An interview, this is off topic, but he used to be like a Much Music VJ, and then he had a small role on Stargate Atlantis.
Mm-hmm.
And he was talking about having to learn specific patterns for like controls because he was like a computer control guy, whatever. I don't know. And he's like
a pilot.
Yeah, and he's like he had to learn the specific sequences for different things because fans were paid that close of an attention to it.
Sure.
And that like if he did the wrong sequence, then it would throw the fans off. It was kind of interesting. I'm like, oh, that's kind of cool that they acknowledge and then pander to that.
Well, and it's just kind of like, I go back to like Futurama and stuff like that. Like the writers paid attention enough to make sure that the things stayed consistent, or that if it didn't, there was like a reason why, right?
Oh, totally. Like BoJack.
Yeah.
Sorry,
no, that's all right. Like I said, it was a good read. I've, kind of bounced back and forth through some Stargate books just to kind of give them a glance because I'm a big fan of the series. So it was just kind of fun. And like I've said previously when talking about them, is that there's no budget, so they can write anything, right?
Oh, yeah, totally.
So, yeah, like big apocalyptic events happen and, wars and battles and stuff like that, that it's like, it's in my imagination and therefore costs $0.
Nice.
But yeah, that's all I kind of want to talk about right now. What about yourself?
So I watched Fast and Furious 8, which is the Fate of the Furious, because I'm going backwards through the series.
Yeah, I think you talked about that last time.
No, we didn't, did we? Oh, no.
Oh, no.
I don't remember.
Oh,
okay.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah, because you were telling me about how you were working through the series backwards, and
I thought we were just talking about that in real life. Okay. I may or may not have talked about this before.
Sure.
I watched The Fate of the Furious at some point in my life.
Yeah.
And it was enjoyable and stupid. Okay,
Yeah.
next thing. Um, I've started watching Nine Perfect Strangers, which is on Prime. I've only watched the first 3 episodes because they've only released the first 3 episodes. They're doing weekly releases.
Oh, yeah, okay, so
Uh,
Prime getting that?
what's that?
Yeah, like Prime getting more into that model, yeah?
Yeah, well, I think it was. So, okay. When you watch the opening credits, it says Amazon Prime exclusive. And then it says Hulu exclusive. So I think it's maybe a Hulu show that Prime bought the rights to for Canada, maybe,
Okay, yeah.
because we don't have Hulu.
Hmm.
But anyway, so I'm watching that. It's got Nicole Kidman, there's Alyssa McCarthy, and I can never remember the name of the actress, but she plays the babysitter in The Babysitter, and also one of the daughters in Bill and Ted, and she's the main actress in Ready or Not, and she's very excellent. And then some other people that I can't remember their names. I think one of them was on a sitcom.
Sure.
Oh, I like that we have a show about talking about like media, and then I can never remember anybody's name or where they've come from.
Yeah, but this is like tertiary stuff, it's not what we're delving into.
That's right. But the show is very enjoyable so far. It kind of has like a little bit of like a horror feel, and it's filmed very beautifully. It's based off a novel, and I bought the book on ebook because I was just really wrapped up in it, and the writing is so terrible and juvenile. Like it feels like a 6-year-old book report. So I probably won't finish reading that, but I am really enjoying the show. The show has elevated the subject.
Yeah, like it's extracted what's good about the book and then made it
Yeah.
into a good show.
Yeah. Well, but we'll see where it goes, because maybe it's
Sure.
crap at the end of it. Who knows? So far, the show is much more watchable than the book is readable.
Right, and like
Um,
you were saying, is it overall like some kind of a horror thing, or it's just like a drama, or what's its?
well, the show has a horror feel to it.
Yeah.
Like, not like a horror. Maybe horror is not the right word. The show makes you feel anxious for the characters.
Yeah, like a suspense or a thriller.
Yeah, we'll go with suspense thriller. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. And then finally, I rewatched BoJack. Well, I rewatched seasons three through seven, six, seven, six, six, three
Nice.
to the end.
Yeah.
But that's it.
Well, and then talking about some animation real quick. Sorry, I think I not maybe not on mic, but I was talking about how Disney Plus didn't have earlier seasons of Bob's Burgers because I kind of wanted to get back into that. And they
Yeah.
just had like season 10 or something like that kind of thing. And then literally a week later, I checked back and they had season 1 to 10. So I've been watching
Oh, nice.
season one of Bob's Burgers.
Yeah, you told me that I have to watch an episode that's a musical theater number.
Yeah, I think it's a good one.
Cool. Oh, Meatball's in the room. Hi, Meatball.
That's all right.
Cat interruptions.
Yeah.
You should leave that in. Meatball's now a host.
Yeah.
Should we talk about Suicide Squad now?
The Suicide Squad, written directed by our guy James Gunn.
Yes, 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 yes. I guess let's start with first impressions.
Sure.
What do you think?
I mean, the movie was amazing and written and directed by James Gunn. Like, I'm not super familiar with like his entire filmography. I was just kind of Googling it before, but like the movie was 100% Guardians of the Galaxy, but in these weird DC characters, and I loved it.
Can I enjoyed it too. I thought it was a great movie. But can I share something with you that's kind of a hot take?
Okay.
I don't really love the Guardians of the Galaxy movies.
Yeah, you said this many times.
Oh, okay. I think they're okay.
Yeah, you've mentioned that before.
Okay. And I don't fully understand why people praise them as much as they do. But I really did enjoy Suicide Squad, and it reminded me more of his earlier work, Slither, than it did his current work of Guardians
Of Marvel. Yeah.
of Marvel. Yeah.
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 Yeah,
Did you
it was
watch
just
Slither?
actually it was on TV the other day. Unfortunately, I haven't seen it all.
It's I really enjoyed it. It's a really good movie. Nathan Fillion is a good leading man.
Yeah, I mean, I've heard nothing but praise of that movie as well. Did you know that he wrote Lollipop Chainsaw?
The game?
Yeah.
No, but it makes sense.
Yeah, no, as soon as I read that, I was like, that makes sense, but I was also like very unaware that he wrote that.
Did you ever play it?
No.
Oh, it's really fun. You get to carry around your boyfriend's head.
Nice.
Yeah, because
I think at the time I didn't have the right console for it.
I I haven't like beat it or anything, but I did play a bit of it and I enjoyed it. It was like a silly zombie game and you're a cheerleader with a chainsaw.
Yeah, I heard it was just like a fun romp.
Yeah, yeah. It was very rompy.
Yeah. It was interesting because this one had a budget $185 million. I didn't look up current box office numbers, but at the time when I went and saw it, I saw it opening weekend. It didn't really have the big opening weekend that they were hoping, but then it also was one of those situations they released it on HBO Max at the same time. And then so there was, every article was basically theaters blaming that. And then also people like WB people saying, well, like, look, there's still a pandemic and we want to give everybody the ability to see it. So it's like, it's one of those situations again where they're just, who knows how much money it's actually made.
Fair enough. I saw it twice.
Yeah, I want to go see it again actually really bad. I just never got around to it.
The first time I saw it was it was the Monday of the opening weekend, and then
Hmm.
the second time I saw it was a week later, and it was much busier a week later than it was the opening weekend. So maybe a bit of word of mouth was going on too. I
Yeah, and
could
I
I
also, oh,
could
sorry.
see people not wanting to see it based on the first movie.
Yeah, and that's one thing I was reading in some articles that, like, again, because we do a show and I'm a little more keyed into media, that some people were like, there was talk that it was like, well, some people thought that might be a sequel to the first one, which it kind of is, but it was also like, yeah, do you not realize it's written and directed by a total different person, given creative freedom, and like, and this is a far better quality movie, so I could definitely see some word of mouth boosting it for sure.
I would say it's a sequel, but it's a sequel in the way that like if you could time travel, your future self goes into the past and shoots your past self in the face.
Yeah, or well, like I think it was just they were saying that it's like confusing because is it a reboot? Is it a sequel? Is it a soft reboot? And it's just like it's just another movie.
No, I would say it's a sequel because they do not acknowledge things that happened in the previous movie, but they kept a lot of the same cast.
Yeah.
And yeah, no, but I would say that it's a movie that is a sequel that destroys the original and like in a very calculated way. Like even the opening scene is basically like, you think you know what this is? No.
Yeah.
No, you do not.
Well, and it was just so classic and subversive, I guess we'll say. But it's yeah, like because it's following on like the first team, and you're like get all the intro, and you're like, all right, and then they all just get slaughtered on this beach, and like Michael Rooker just like takes off after all this build up about how badass he looks and everything.
Yeah, it was great. It's a great way to start a sequel where you establish all these characters and then you kill them right away.
Yeah. And then it was just such great stuff because like the character, like the Lancer character, and then like the alien one that was very kind of almost Deadpool 2, where they like, oh yeah, they got this badass like that Shatterstar character and he just gets bladed to death in the helicopter blades. The same
Yep.
thing in this. It's like the alien just immediately dies and Lancer just gets shot down.
Or even just Pete Davidson's character, because what are they called? Project X?
Task Force X.
Task Force X is deployed to an island, and they jump out of an airplane and they swim to the shore, and like immediately one of the character drowns, which is a weasel, which is just literally like a 6 foot tall weasel. And then they get to the shore. I can't remember what his character name is, but the actor is Pete Davidson from Saturday Night Live. And he walks onto the beach and he's like, "Hey, I brought them. I'm here, guys." Like implying that he had set up some sort of trap for them.
Yeah, it's a double cross.
A double cross, and they just immediately shoot him in the face. The people the army on the beach just shoot him right in the face, and he's dead, and he has no face. And then slowly but surely, all of the characters that have been deployed to the beach die. I say slowly, but it is like it takes like 5 minutes.
Yeah, it's a big elaborate action scene.
Yeah, with the exception of Harley Quinn and Flag, everybody else is murdered brutally. It's so great because all of their like ad campaigns seem to be centered around the characters that die in the first 5 minutes.
Awesome.
Including Nathan Fillion, who plays TDK, which stands for the detachable kid. And they had all these like kind of viral-ish ads where they were employing people to sign a petition so that there could be a pavilion in Edmonton named after Nathan Fillion, so it'd be the Nathan Fillion Pavilion. And he just dies right away. He has like 4 lines, and then he's dead, and that's all he is in the movie.
Yeah, I figured. Oh, sorry.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, I figured a lot of these characters, when they were announcing the cast, and like I said, I didn't follow it too closely, but you hear stuff here and there that I was like, okay, this cast is massive. Like, I just assumed a lot of them were gonna die, but it was just crazy that they all died so quickly in the beginning, and then it's just like we're immediately just like, okay, here's our like 8 characters now.
Yeah. No, yeah, I didn't expect them to die in the first like opening right away, and it was a good twist. I was expecting a movie that was going to be very bloated with characters, and good, that it was going to feel like I was. Sorry, what am I trying to say? I was trying to figure out how it wouldn't feel bogged down when you have a cast of like 20 fucking people.
Yeah.
And then James Gunn found a very good way to get around that, and that's just killing most of them right away.
Sure. Yeah, and then we're introduced to, like I said, we're kind of, they do a flashback of, okay, so they were a distraction team, here's our real team, which has Idris Elba as Bloodsport, John Cena as Peacemaker, Daniela Melchior as Ratcatcher 2. Eventually they pick up Margot or Harley Quinn, and we got David Dastmalchian as Polka Dot Man. Joel Kinnaman is back, like you said, as Colonel Flag, and then Sly Stallone plays the voice of King Shark.
Nice. I really enjoyed the character of Polka Dot Man.
Oh yeah, he was great.
He was great. The actor had the right face for that character.
Sure.
But also like his deal with his mom and the way that they portrayed it on screen was really entertaining.
Yeah, that was one of the funniest things I've seen in a long time. Like, I was laughing immensely, like a lot.
The first time you see it, when they're like, "Where's it?" Or well, earlier they ask him, "Where's your mother now?" Oh no, that was the same scene. He goes, "Where's your mother now?" And he answers, "Everywhere." And then it just flashes to the team. They're all in the same clothing and the same blocking, and they have the same expressions, but it's all like this lady playing his mom instead.
Yeah.
And it was like so weird, and like I wasn't expecting it, that I laughed a lot for that.
Well, and yeah, like later when they're at the club, they cut it in, and and then of course at the end of the movie,
they cut to him and he's all surrounded by his mom again, and it was great.
It was just such a good element.
I also felt like they casted the right person to play Ratcatcher 2.
Yeah, she was great.
She has a way about her that makes her just kind of likable, like a charisma, I suppose.
Hmm.
Well, the whole movie was well cast, but those two for me, I really enjoyed. Oh, I really like John Cena as Peacemaker. I thought he was very well suited to the role.
Yeah, like I was saying as well, like I'm not familiar a lot with John Cena. Like I didn't see the most recent F9, but I thought he was really great in the role. And it was just funny because while I was watching it, I was like, immediately, I was just like, this man is the Drax type character. And
Yeah,
then it turned out it was. James Gunn specifically wrote it for David
John,
Bautista.
yeah,
But he turned it
no,
down
but
to go star in Army of the Zombies or Army of the Dead.
yeah, bad choice by him.
Oh, well, I mean, it's one of those things like John Cena played it really well.
Oh yeah, he was great. Yeah, I preferred him in the Suicide Squad than I did in F9, F Fine, or whatever the fuck it's called.
Sure. And it was also interesting because Idris Elba plays Bloodsport, who before like his costume was amazing.
Yeah.
I loved his costume, but it was interesting because initially they were just going to make him Deadshot, and then later in the production they decided no, let's make him someone different. So because Will Smith was originally actually supposed to come back, but then there was a scheduling issue, or at least that's the word that I was able to find. So who knows exactly what happened there, but so anyway, they were like, well, let's leave it open, so if we want, we can bring Deadshot back.
Oh, that's cool. I thought that Idris Elba was a much better choice for this type of role than Will Smith because Will Smith is inherently likable.
Oh
Not
yeah,
saying
he's
that
super
Idris,
charismatic.
yeah, I'm not saying that Idris Elba isn't, but the scene between Idris Elba and his daughter when they're in prison could not be done by Will Smith.
Sure.
When he's
Which was a
like,
great scene.
yeah, he's like yelling "fuck you" at his daughter, right?
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't see Will Smith doing that.
Sure. And yeah, I also really liked it because he was like the reluctant leader, and the whole time he's like, "I'm not the leader of this stupid squad." Until the end, when he rises up.
Rises up.
Yeah.
And it's
But yeah, I
great.
thought his outfit was super cool, and just like the way he's taking it all apart to make weapons out of it, and his helmet just looked like very xenomorph-esque. I liked
Yeah,
it.
it was awesome.
Yeah, and like I said, I thought his performance was really good. Liked it a lot, and it was some good fun.
And of course, like Harley Quinn as Margot Robbie as Harley Quinn.
They are the one and the same now. Yeah.
Yeah, she's so great.
Yeah.
Every scene she's in is a good scene.
Well, and I think she was, just again very well written, well cast, and well acted. She's great as Harley Quinn.
So we were speaking of this off air.
Hmm.
But you had beef with her spending most of the movie in that dress instead of the leather getup she was in on the plane.
Yeah, that was kind of just a small thing because it was just interesting because the complaint between Suicide Squad to Birds of Prey, they were like, we want to change Harley's outfit because what she wears in the Suicide Squad is like a bikini. So they were like, okay, gave her a different outfit in Birds of Prey. And then in this one, in the beginning, she's wearing like the full combat leathers. And I was like, yeah, kick ass. And then she's wearing a dress. And I was like, it's like you said, it does work. But I was also like, put her back in the combat leathers. That's kick ass.
Okay, so I had a thought about this because I was thinking about this conversation.
Yes.
And one of the thousands of video essays that I watch about movies was mentioning that, like, in Suicide Squad, the first one, Harley is dressing for the Joker, and in Birds of Prey, she's dressing for herself. Like, she's wearing what she
Yeah.
thinks is cool. And I don't know if this was the wardrobe's intent, but her reaction to seeing herself in the gown for the first time and saying, "I'm a princess," made me think that it was like in character for Harley to choose to wear the dress over the leathers because she feels good in it.
Yeah, no, that's fair.
Yeah. I thought it did look really cool when it was all ripped up when she was wearing it with combat boots.
Yeah.
So yeah, I just wanted to mention that because I was thinking about that comment that you made, and I was like, I had it was floating around in my brain, and I'm like, I must save this for the podcast. The people need to know what I think about it.
No, and that's a good interpretation of it. That, like you said, is she never really felt that way before, and then she's just like, I'm the combat princess now.
Plus, that sequence when she's breaking out of prison or breaking out of the whatever Presidente's house.
Yeah.
The gown and boots work really well with these like Disney bursts of flowers and forest creatures that are happening in conjunction with the violence.
Yeah, and then like in some of those areas where her moves are more acrobatic, it gives it that flair to it as well.
Oh, totally. But like just like the idea, it's kind of like in Shrek, right? When like Fiona is doing martial arts in her princess get up.
Sure.
Like she's wait, am I mixing things up?
No, you're correct.
That happened, right?
That did happen. And yeah, like her breakout sequence was again so great, and just like that burst into animation because it comes out of nowhere, despite the fact that like yeah, like we saw earlier with Polka Dot Man, like hallucinating his mom. In this, it's just like suddenly literal animated like cartoon, just like on screen, and you're just like, what is happening? But it works so well.
Yeah, it's what is happening, but it also it makes sense.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I know we normally go in sequence, but I'm jumping all over the movie right now. I'm
Yeah, that's
sorry.
fair. No, that's all good.
I hope our conversation is still followable, even though I have decided to be erratic.
Who are you? Some kind of Harley Quinn?
Yeah, that's right. I'm just doing it in character.
Right.
One of my favorite scenes in the movie is when Idris Elba, John Cena, Ratcatcher 2, Shark, and Polka Dot Man try to rescue Flag.
Yes.
What they don't realize is that he's being helped by the resistance.
Yeah, or they just don't bother figuring it out because they just get orders from Waller that is just like, he's captured, eliminate everybody.
Yeah, so they go in and it's hilarious because it's grotesquely violent. But it's also like it's just Peacemaker and what's his name? Bloodsport?
Bloodsport, yes.
Peacemaker and Bloodsport having a pissing match.
Yeah. Having a kill off.
Who's better at killing people? And they're having like this casual banter, but they're just like like destroying, eliminating, lighting people on fire, super violent.
Yeah, blowing people up and like dismembering them.
And they're just having like the pettiest argument while they do it.
Yeah.
It's really great. I like that scene.
No, it's a great scene and it's a great sequence, and it's just funny because I don't know, it's like it was so obvious that they were not the army, like that they were probably some kind of resistance, and it's like they don't even bother to stop to find out. They just like go on their murder spree.
Yeah.
Until they get to Joel Kinnaman as Colonel Flag, who I really liked in this movie.
Oh, he was so much more likable in this movie than he was in the trailer, the 3-hour trailer that was Suicide Squad 1.
Yeah, I was pleasantly surprised that I was like, oh, that clever wordsmith made me care about this guy.
Haha. I also, you know who else was really well cast in this?
Mm-hmm.
Peter Capaldi.
Sure. I figured we'd get to the Thinker at some point.
As the Thinker, because he's very good at being a super callous kind of...
Sorry, you cut out there.
Oh no! I said he's really good at being a callous, pervy asshole.
Ah.
Like, he's just... The way he delivers his... Like, okay, one line in particular.
Sure.
Ratcatcher says something to the effect of, you better do what we say or you're going to have half a dozen angry rodents up your ass. or do you, no, she goes, do you want half a dozen angry rodents up your ass? And then he's like, my answer would surprise you. He gives like this little smirk.
Yeah.
And I love it. It's just like, he's just like a weird perv.
And I like how they committed as well to like the head plugs, you know,
Oh
and
yeah.
it was cool to see the sequence like where he's only got like one, so it's like over time he's clearly like, you know, put more and more in his head.
Oh, totally.
Yeah.
There's another part where like, okay, so he has a giant space starfish that has mini starfishes that come out of it and attach themselves to people and feeds off their consciousness. And he does weird experiments on the people who have starfish faces. And
Yeah, as well as
they,
probably he's experimented on Starro itself for
oh
like
yeah.
30 years.
So the people who are controlled by the smaller starfishes say something like he's taken advantage of them, and he just gives, it's such a weird, like, he's charismatic and likable, but he gives like a like kind of like a smirk and a shrug, like, yeah, I did that.
Yeah, basically he's like, yeah, it's science. I'm a mad scientist, clearly. You see the stuff in my head?
He does it really well. What was your favorite part of the movie?
Ooh. I mean, I don't know. I like so many moments of it. One moment that we spoke of that like was when Harley Quinn shoots the president.
Oh my God, that was so great, and I didn't see it coming.
Yeah, like I didn't see that coming either. And he's going on this megalomaniacal rant that you're like, all right, it's like a comic book villain rant, and she just shoots him in the back.
So for context, he he just proposed to her because his people think that he needs a wife, and to his people, she represents anti-American enthusiasm, I guess.
Yeah, and yeah, like just like anti-establishment. She's the ultimate punk, essentially.
And yeah, and they spend the day together and end up falling in love. And they've so he's proposed. She's kind of accepted.
Yeah, she
They,
said yes at this point.
yeah, they have some crazy sex, which is very entertaining to watch. And then he starts going on his like evil villain rant, and she just shoots him.
And then gives a very rational explanation as to why.
Yeah, she's like, I promised myself that if I had another boyfriend and he had these red flags, which, murdering kids is a red flag, that I'd do the right thing and I'd kill him.
Yeah.
That's a really great scene.
Yeah. Which leads to her becoming, imprisoned and then breaking out like we were talking about earlier.
And then breaking out. I would just watch a movie of her breaking out of things. It's so great to watch her just kill people.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. What about yourself then? What was your favorite scene?
Well, I think it would be a toss up between the scene we'd previously spoken about where she's breaking out,
Mm-hmm.
or when the team encounters the resistance camp to save Flag, which those were great.
Yeah, and it was funny because it was one of those things where then they're like, okay, they're going to work with the resistance, but in the sense that they're like, well, when we go attack the tower, it'll probably draw people there, so you can kind of go do your thing. But it's not like they were like, we're going to help free you guys and everything like that, because to jump to near the end, they get in their mission supposedly is to get into the tower to bring it down. But then Peacemaker has an alternate mission where it's like, actually, no, we want to steal some data to make sure that that doesn't come out that America was involved with these bad experiments.
Right.
Yeah, and then which leads to him fighting versus Flag, because Flag's like, no, we got to tell people this is messed up, and Peacemaker's like, no, it's all about peace, and I'll murder everyone for peace.
Yeah, when they first land on the beach and he's saying like, I'll do anything for peace. I'll eat an entire beach covered in dicks for peace.
Yeah.
And then Idris Elba's just like, I think you just use that as an excuse to do what you want.
Well, he was in a supermax jail.
Yeah.
And then,
I
oh, sorry.
I just thought of this and I wanted to bring it up before I forgot because my
Okay.
brain just lets things fall out. I really liked the, I guess, diegetic title cards to let you know what was going on.
Yeah, that was very well executed.
So like at the beginning we get the scene where they're all on the beach and then we cut to 3 days earlier, and 3 days earlier it's like you get a shot of a toilet that has like soap on the seat, like it's being cleaned, and the 3 days earlier is written in the soap, and so like that is consistent throughout the movie. That's how they kind of tell you like where and when they are, and it is very cool. They use some very cool techniques to communicate that.
Yeah, it was very unexpected and very well executed, like I said. That yeah, because and then it also kind of leads you because it's like the chapters. It's like Rescue Flag, Operation Harley, 8 minutes earlier,
Yeah.
and you're like, oh, okay.
Yeah, it's so great.
They kind of bring down the tower, and they didn't realize, and then they unleash Starro, and then he goes all kaiju on the city. And Amanda Waller's like, hey, it doesn't matter, you guys got the drive, get out. And then they're like, no, we got to stop this thing because it's gonna like try to take over the world, or at least take over this island, and that's not good.
So she's gonna do the head explodey thing on them
Yeah,
because they don't listen. One of her underlings hits her in the head with a golf club,
yeah.
knocking her out. That was a great scene and
Yes,
unexpected. I was like, how are they going to get around this? How is she not going to explode their heads?
yeah.
And the answer is golf club.
Yeah, and then they take on Starro, which again, a lot of fun, some cool weaponry. Like I said, Idris Elba's got to step up, and he's directing King Shark and Polka Dot Man and letting Harley be
I
random.
I really enjoyed when he's giving them, like he's like, Harley, get to the high ground, and
Yeah,
then he's like, King Shark, nom nom, right? Like
yeah.
goes, and then he's polka dot Bob mad. He's like, do you know what that is? It's your mom. And then we get a shot of a giant woman.
Smashing up the city.
Yeah, which was great.
Yeah, it was, like I said, it was probably one of my favorite gags because it was just so unexpected.
Yeah, and every time it was unexpected too.
Yeah, and it was cleverly done every time as well. That it wasn't just, oh, he's just seeing people and it's his mom. Okay, no, it was like, no, this is like a weird circumstance. He's picturing his mom.
Yep.
And then yeah, they take on Starro, and then Ratcatcher summons like all the rats of the island, and Harley Quinn uses the lance that she finds in her escape from the dead Lancer to pierce
It's a
Starro.
javelin.
The
He's
javelin, sorry.
javelin man. You're
Sorry.
getting it wrong. Dan, you're fired from
My own show?
podcast.
Oh. But yeah, she jumps through into the star, and then all the rats come following in after her. And it's disgusting and awesome at the same time.
It really is. What did you think of Taika Waititi as Ratcatcher 1?
I obviously in the early scenes I didn't know it was him, and then when I saw him later I was like, oh, it's Taika Waititi, and I was like, very cool. I like that because it's like he can act as well, but he's obviously a great writer director himself, and I thought it was just kind of a nice nod to be like, hey, come be like Ratcatcher 1 for like 2 scenes.
Yeah, totally. I agree. It was a good choice.
And then yeah, the Suicide Squad is not all dead. Some of them live.
And they use the data as blackmail basically to get out of jail.
Yeah.
For now. I'm sure that they'll go back.
Oh, of course, because they'll do something else to end up in jail. Because that's how it was. Because yeah, Harley Quinn, of course, when she's originally introduced in the beginning, Captain Boomerang's like, "Oh, what are you doing here?" And she's like, "Ah, road rage."
Yeah.
And I also want to bring up as well, because we haven't talked about him a lot, but I really did like the effects on King Shark. when he's like on the ground getting shot by all those guards, it was like brutal, but then also you could see that his skin's not getting pierced.
Yeah.
Because I
Yeah,
was
the
just like, oh
effects on him
man.
were really good. He didn't look stupid. Like, he looked
Oh.
stupid because it's a giant talking shark, but it didn't look stupid visually
hmm
or effects wise.
Yeah, no, I think, they spent a lot of money on it, but it was well spent. I think everything went onto the screen as much as they could.
Yeah.
Because even Starro for a giant CGI starfish looked really good.
Yeah, I think that it helped that a lot of the characters that they picked to showcase were kind of silly, so it did have a bit of a cartoony feel.
Yeah, and that was James Gunn specifically wanted to, use unknown villains and unknown antagonists because he was like, that's kind of the original guy, John Ostrander or Ostrander, his version kind of the Suicide Squad or Task Force S, because he's just like, he like the idea of people that are bad at their job, like they're not even good at being villains.
Yeah, I mean, if you did you ever watch yeah, you did. The Suicide Squad animated movie where they have to break into Arkham?
Yeah, I've seen the two that they've done, unless they've done more, like Assault on Arkham, and then I forget the title of the other one that actually has blood sport in it, where they have to get the card that gets you out of hell.
I don't remember which one I saw, but I do
You-
remember
yeah,
that Harley was in it, a girl with blue hair, I want to say.
yeah, no, that was Assault on Arkham. We talked about it briefly.
Yeah, I felt like this movie felt more like that movie instead
That's
of instead of like just throwing a bunch of characters in the wash and hoping for the best.
Yeah, and that's actually my second note is that it felt very similar to an animated movie that I've watched, but brought to the live screen.
Yeah, yeah, I thought they did a good job.
hmm And of course, the last line of Starro giving us that villain sympathy of I was happy floating in and watching the stars.
It's stupid space astronauts kidnapping him.
Basically, yeah. So he was held the entire time against his will and just wanted to be left alone,
Yep. And
which he
instead they
says several
kill him with
times.
rats.
Yeah, and then sorry, eaten to death by rats.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I think he's got a couple lines throughout it with like some of the people being controlled that he's just like I just want to be left alone, leave me alone.
Yep. Haha, no.
But Capaldi's like negative on that.
He's like, I gotta do weird pervy science stuff to you.
Yeah.
He gets ripped apart, right? That's how he dies?
Yeah.
Yeah, Starro rips him apart, which is
Yeah.
great. Fucking deserved it.
Yeah. Well, and before that as well, because I was saying because that's like the plan going kind of wrong is like Peacemaker and King Shark are like placing some of the C4, and of course it's like King Shark is depicted. That's what was funny for me because my only experience really with King Shark is from the Harley Quinn animated show, so it's a total different character, of course, right?
Oh, okay.
And so he's just doesn't seem to understand human interaction as much and this and that, so he's just like placing the C4 all like weird, and Peacemaker's just like, "What are you doing, man?"
Yeah, he makes a little tiny peacemaker.
Yeah.
Cute. Oh, I wonder if there's furry porn of him.
Oh, probably.
Yeah, good point. Oh, I forgot to mention something in the things I liked.
Sure.
Shoot. There's a new there's a new episode of Hell of a Boss on YouTube, and it's worth checking out. Have I
Yeah.
talked about that yet? Hell of a
No,
Boss?
I don't think I've heard of this.
Okay, it's an animated series that's only on YouTube, and it is hilarious and super well animated, and it's about an agency of demons who go to out of hell into Earth to kill people for money.
Sure.
It's very, very good. It's super well done. Daryl Dixon, that's his name, right? No, that's the character. What's the actor's name? Yeah, Norman Reedus?
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I only remember his name because of that video game that he was modeled after. that had a weird baby in the trailer, and everyone was calling it Norman Reedus and the freaky fetus.
Yeah, Death Stranding is the game.
Yeah. Anyways, he did a voice for it. Some other people have done voices for it. It's really good, though. I highly recommend it, and I'm sorry that I forgot to mention it earlier.
So is this like a YouTube produced show or
It
like?
it's guys or ladies that make animation.
So it's just some people in like it's their own passion project.
Yeah, but they get like cool people to work on it, and it's very well done. And they're like 20 to 25 minutes long episodes.
Cool.
Yeah, like really good voice acting, really well written. Their furry porn made me think of it because one of the demons is a hellhound and she's super thick.
Right.
She's like a thick wolf goth girl. There's probably lots of furry porn of her.
Sure.
This is how my brain works.
Fair enough.
Okay,
Yeah.
sorry, back to Suicide Squad.
No, I mean, I don't have a lot more notes to say really. And like I said, we kind of jumped around plot wise, but I don't want to ruin everything. But yeah, like the movie ends like we were talking about. But I thought for me, like overall, like they really upped the fun and ridiculous factor in a good way. And then, toned back down on what didn't work from the first one. And just made this fun, great movie.
I totally agree. Do you have a favorite character? A favorite villain, if you will?
I mean, I was gonna say Harley Quinn because I've liked her a lot, but I really liked Bloodsport, particularly in this movie. I was like, I want to see more of this guy.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. Harley, Bloodsport, and then I really enjoyed Polka Dot Man because it's just very stupid.
I really liked though, like that they gave an explanation for his powers, and like we get an entire backstory from him, but like just like that scene where they turn around and his face is all messed up, and he's like, "Oh no, it's fine," and then he's like puking out dimensional goo essentially. It was just like, what is going on with this guy?
It's great because
Yeah.
It's like when you think about it, it's so horrible.
Yeah.
It's like horror, body horror, freaky shit, and then he's stupid polka dot man.
Yeah, like the suit he wears is the most ridiculous, like just white suit with polka dots on it.
And his power is throwing polka dots.
Yeah, that burn things.
Yeah, no, they're terrible. They look like it would be very painful, but it's just, it's a very silly balance of like, oh, well, when you stop and think about it, this is absolutely horrible. But when you witness it, it's hilarious.
Yeah. Don't think there's any more I could say to really praise this without kind of delving more into some stuff, but I would highly recommend people go see it if you haven't. It's definitely worth checking out.
Yeah, people go see it, and then the box office numbers will go up, and then they'll make more cool movies like this, hopefully.
Let me just quickly...
Or they'll take the wrong message from it, and then they'll just decide to do something really stupid instead, because Hollywood is dumb.
Yeah, I was going to say, let me quickly, because I'm on Box Office Mojo here, let me just quickly look it up. It's reporting right now that it's done 141 worldwide. But again, so that's not including like what is HBO Max seeing for their numbers,
Yeah. I wonder how that works. I wonder if they get like a portion, if they get paid per view, or if they sign over like a contract where they're like, you get X amount of money to host this, or...
Well, no, it doesn't matter because HBO Max is owned by the same company who owns Warner Brothers. Like, it's all owned by the same people.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, so it's just pure... When people sign up for that, it's just pure profit for them.
I wonder if any of them are going to get sued, like Scarlett Johansson is trying to sue Disney or Marvel.
Yeah, I mean... That's not something we were, we've been talking about, but it's an interesting story that it's like there was contract guarantees and they went against them. Surprise, it's Disney.
Yeah, fair.
Yeah, but it's just something that's kind of interesting. So like I said, 141 right now reporting, but who knows how much viewership has been on, say, HBO Max, because they don't because Disney's been touting that for Black Widow because they're like, it's still in the premiere access. So they're like, oh, well, people have been paying and here's what people have paid. But this is kind of like, if you have the subscription, you already have it. So I don't know.
Interesting.
Yeah. But anyway, great stuff. Check it out.
Agreed.
Yeah, sorry. Any further thoughts from you, Devin?
Good movie. Movie good.
Does Meatball want to weigh in as well?
Yeah, let's see. Meeple, what do you think?
Yeah.
No, he left the room. Never mind.
Oh, okay.
I let him out earlier.
Okay, fair enough.
He was tired of your bullshit and he quit the podcast.
I only got the one thing wrong.
I'm just kidding. He's a cat.
Yeah, that's fair.
Should I wrap it up?
Yeah, I think so as well. I mean, I don't think there's anything more to say. Like I said, kind of went through most of my notes, and Suicide Squad, check it out.
Agreed. Oh, you know what? I did try to do some research for this episode.
Yeah.
And so I typed in The Suicide Squad into YouTube because I'm like, maybe there's some cool reviews or video essays.
Mm-hmm.
And there was the Red Letter Media one, which I tried to watch, but they have this weird, super long intro about COVID, and I got bored. And then the next, like, 3 that I found were all like, actually, The Suicide Squad is the worst movie of all time.
Really?
And so I didn't watch any of them because I'm like, whatever they're going to say is fucking stupid.
Yeah, it's not even like a nuanced take.
Yeah, it's not like I personally did not enjoy this because I do not like gratuitous violence. It was like, no, it's the worst movie of all time. And I'm like, well, you probably thought the first one was the best movie, so you have a totally invalid opinion.
That's what I was gonna say. I was like, okay, I mean, maybe that case could be made for the first one, even though there's some fun moments in it. But yes, it's bad, but it's like this one is far superior.
I agree. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
that's
so I didn't watch any reviews, but so I guess some people don't like it, but they're wrong.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, like, I think it was interesting, like David Ayer, who did the first one. I know that I've read some stuff, like he, got messed by the studio, and that happens, and it's unfortunate, and it's like, even at the production and script level, it wasn't even the story he wanted to tell. He unfortunately doesn't have the same kind of juice as James Gunn. When he was brought into this project, he had just been fired from Marvel, and they were like, we'll give you all the money, James. Make a good movie for us, please, probably. And he did. And he was given that creative freedom. And you could tell he was given that freedom and $185 million because it's all up there.
Yeah. Oh, totally. I like how I don't go on like social media because I think there's like a lack of nuance when people discuss anything. And it's just a bunch of people making like heated arguments that are either like it's black and white where you're either like good or bad. And then and I'm like, I can't be around that. But then I get on the podcast and I'm like, anyone who didn't like this movie is stupid.
Yeah, but you don't say that very often.
No, that's my new thing. I'm gonna lose nuance in real life and only have nuance on the internet.
Well, and I think, like I've said, like the Weekly Planet, their joking review system is like best movie ever, worst movie ever, because they're like, there's no in between on the internet.
But you know what? They're right.
Yeah, because they'll be like, well, I had some issues with it or whatever. Best movie ever, though.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll wrap it up for real this time.
Sure.
Thank you for listening. If you enjoyed this podcast, please, I don't know, rate and review it and share it with all your friends. Put it on social media. Tell everyone this is the best podcast ever, and if they don't listen to it, they're a bad person. You can follow us on Instagram. We post only when we release new episodes. It's at Tome of Uselessness. You can also visit our website, which is tomeofuselessness.com, or you can email us, tomeofuselessness@gmail.com, where you can send us glowing praise and just let us know that you agree with everything we said ever.
Yeah, our questions or topic ideas.
Yeah, I guess that too. I hope that you have a wonderful day. Thank you for listening. Bye.
Stay safe and thanks for listening.